Welcome to Digital Toolbox. In this tutorial, this third tutorial of the polysurface waffle series, we're going to extrude these contours that we just made. So refer back to the previous one to get to this step where we've created planes out of the contours of whatever geometry we want to waffle. So from the planar elements, we're going to move those planes, and I'll explain to you right now exactly how we're going to do this to accommodate the material thickness that we want to set. We're going to move these planes over half of the material thickness in one direction, and then that same plane we're going to extrude to the material thickness in the opposite direction. So using that method, these lines will be the actual center lines of our material and not just to the side of it. So this will work for any material thickness we set. So for these planes, I'm going to double click and get a move button and copy that down. These are the geometries we want to move, so connect the G's back to the planes, and then we want to move these in the X and Y units. So grab an X and then a Y, and we want to move these in half of our material thickness. So if we just plug these in right now, it's going to move them in one unit in each direction. We want these X and Y to correspond to half of the material thickness. So we'll create an F1 function, and in the expression editor we'll do a negative x over 2. So if we do negative x over 2, that'll be half the material thickness in the opposite direction. And then I'm going to take this x and bring it back to our material thickness. Our material thickness we set it as just 3 on the slider. If we want to use a function to drive inches instead of feet, which we're going to do, just get a one variable function and then just do x over 12. And just so you don't forget, we could do x over 12 on the renaming it, and then from there we'll set that into the function, which was negative x over 2. And you can see that that's extruding it, not extruding it, but moving that plane half of our material thickness in one direction. So the next thing we want to do is take these planes that we've moved and extrude those to our material thickness. So I'm just going to take the extrude, and the base geometry that we want, the base curve that we want to extrude, is our move. And then the direction we want to move are the same x and y, but it'll be the positive x and y. So we won't have the same function driving it. It'll just be our material thickness. So you can see, since it's using the same function, it's just adding on that other half thickness in the negative direction. But let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit here to take those new x and y's straight out of the x over 12 function that we created. So we'll just extrude it in inches, whatever our material thickness is. So after doing that, you can see that when I amp up the material thickness, it'll correspond to that center line, that line being the center line, and then whatever material thickness I give it, it'll be. So I'll just leave that at 4 right there. And that'll be it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, we'll go in and difference out the individual joints for each of these.